so long ago when Australia was a swimming backwater, a time when a place in a final was cause for celebration and gold was an extremely rare commodity. Well, not any longer. Unashamedly, we are the champions, and undeniably, it's largely due to one man. When Don Talbot took over as head coach in 1989, his sole ambition was to make Australia #1. So he trod on toes, bruised a few egos, and turned our team into world beaters. The Goodwill Games are his swan song as head coach, and it's no surprise our swimmers have turned them into Don's party. It's the day before the Goodwill Games, and we've been invited behind the scenes with the Australian swim team. They're buoyant, upbeat, and why not? This is a great time to be on this team.
It's so magic. I really am so grateful that I'm in this era of Australian swimming. I think it's just the most exciting period of time. Pretty much back in the 1950s was when we were strong, and I think we're back in that era again, and it's just magic.
In recent times, we've become used to this. Victories, gold medals, and world records. Used to it, in large part, because of one man.
Right now, though, you've got a job in front of you. Don't let yourself down.
For the past 12 years, Don Talbot has been the brains behind our swimming success.
You've got to do it. It's your job now to get up.
Touch, go.
The straight line is what you've got to try to get with your hand.
He arrived when gold medals were as rare as they are plentiful now, and brought with him an unshakable belief that we could and should be the best.
The way I express it is, I think we've got a chance to be #1 in the world if we really want to try it. Yeah, like hell, this guy's a loony, right? Okay, well, but then start that way and gradually work at it. I never believed in my heart. I cannot believe that any nation are better than we are. Just a little bit more on that last touch, down a bit, not keeping it up like a normal stroke. I've worked in a number of countries and I've seen no athlete tougher than the Australian athlete. They do.
It seems almost forever that Don has been around Australian swimming. Indeed, what is ending with Thorpe began with the Conrads. It was 1956 when brother and sister John and Ilsa gave a young coach with a distinctive crew cut his big break.
I was very lucky to get two great swimmers, particularly John, who broke and held every world record from 100 metres through the 1500. So, that launched me. I was lucky.
And the luck and the gold medals kept on coming. By 1964, Talbot had begun his first stint as head coach.
It looks like the United States boys are pretty strong, and
he oversaw champions like Mike Wendon and Shane Gould. And then he left. In 1972, furious at a lack of funding and the way Australian swimming was run, Talbot took off to Canada. And with him, it seemed, went much of our success. By the late 80s, a country used to first place and world records had become accustomed to gallant thirds or nothing at all. Our golden era had turned into the Bronze Age. We'd gone from swimming superpower to swimming backwater. And so the call went out, bring back Don.
He's had very good swimmers and he's made them better. Gold medals, I'm talking about.
Back in 1989, former champion swimmer John Devitt had the job of helping recruit a head coach who would return Australia to its winning ways.
He's prepared to kick and push and scratch and scream at the guys to get there. Hey, that hurts egos. But I think we are seeing in 2001 the results of that 12-year cycle that we've been in.
Yeah, but why am I finding about this now, Ruth? Yeah, well, you're a manager, and you've got to come and tell me. Yeah, but you've got to tell me. If he was that way, he should have been out.
I didn't know he was that bad.
If Don Talbot believes in you, he's your greatest ally. If he doesn't believe in you, yeah, you're in trouble.
He's a very strict person who likes to get results. He's a hard man to please. You've got to perform very well, do something unbelievable to see a smile on his face or get a handshake.
Don, if you were a swimmer, how would you handle being coached by yourself?
I'd be very careful. All I want is an athlete to try, to give me the best they can do. If the best not good enough, well, I can live with that. And in fact, I feel for them, and I try to help them more. Go to the bottom of the barrel, find everything they've got. That's what I want them to do. And I don't think that's an unfair thing to do. I'll do it, so I want them to do it. They're so bad, there's got to be something up, but we can't put our finger on it, right?
His toughness, some would say abrasiveness, has in the past led to walkouts and threats of mutiny. You can argue with Don, but as Susie O'Neill's coach Scott Volkers puts it, push him and he'll push right back.
The typewriter, we call it, that's the push the key with single finger. That one there's, or just the verbal tirade that you can be confronted with. So, I mean, it's a two-way street, but Don likes to be travelling in one way.
Let me read you this from a newspaper article. It was about 1999. Speak to people about Don Talbot and they say the most offensive things. They say a bombastic old bastard, a stubborn, pig-headed, intensely irritating beast of a man, mercilessly tough, autocratic and arrogant. Now that's quite a character assessment.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, but I don't take any notice of that.
But then they say, but there's no better coach in the world.
Yeah, maybe they're all like that. All coaches are like that, but probably I'm a little bit more demonstrative in it. I don't know, but I'm not deterred too easily by anybody. And I guess the people that have felt my anger sometime know that. If I believe we can do it, well, then I'm going to go after it till such time as I fail or I die.
There's no doubting the air of confidence carried by this Australian team. But Don Talbot, who no longer trains individual swimmers, has his critics. The most stinging accusation is that he's taken the glory others deserve.
There's been criticism of Talbot at one stage, and this may be the opportunity for me to say it on that he coaches no one and he coaches nothing. I mean, anyone who looks at that and makes that statement doesn't know what the sport's all about, and therefore they do not have a valid criticism of our sport, because he's not coaching the swimmer that swims in lane 5. He's coaching the sport to get the structure in place so that the swimmer in lane 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 swims faster than they've ever swum. That's what it's about, and that's what the head coach in swimming means.
What Don Talbot set about doing was to put into place the best support staff and the best science. Under him, Australian swimming has gone high-tech. Cameras and computers analyse every start, stroke, turn and touch.
If you have a look at this, you can actually see the differences. Here we have Ian. This is his stroke. This is his velocity, 1.86. So it's definitely Ian won that race because he was the fastest swimmer. But if you have a look at the turns...
At major swim meets, Bruce Mason and his team of biomechanics have multiple cameras trained on our swimmers, watching their stroke rate, pinpointing their weaknesses. So, while to the uninitiated, a race between Thorpe and Hackett may seem simply to be about who's the fastest to finish, in reality, it's about finding those fractions of seconds that give the winning edge.
When you're racing the best, you can't afford to lose anything at all.
Second gold medal for the championships for this wonder swimmer.
Away from the pool, it's perhaps no surprise that the man who brought science to our swimming loves his gadgets, especially the two-wheeled variety. Bikes are his other passion. He even bought his wife Jan a bright red one for her birthday.
Wasn't expecting it at all, but I think the biggest surprise is I didn't look at styles or models. I just looked at color, and I went running upstairs and said, Don, this is great. I want the blue. And he goes, not a chance. Look again.
Now, I must say, Jan, Don seems to go a little soft around you. Do you run the show?
That means yes. And I better do as I'm told. So I do.
Most of the time.
They live in Queensland, where they share a love of long walks with their dogs. It's a good life that became even better earlier this year when Don's long-time ambition finally came true. His holy grail had always been for us to be crowned #1 in the world. And at the World Championships in Japan, what had so long eluded him came down to this race.
Is going to gold it. It is Ryan by half a body length. Phoenix can't get there. Ryan's in there. Australian girls win 4x100 medley.
Our women went out and won. What was the thought that went through your mind?
Oh, at last. Thank heaven for that. I've been wondering about what I could do. I mean, the proudest moment of my life, I think, Patrice...
At dinner that night, the team got a rare glimpse of another side of Don.
It's the proudest night, right? And that's really sincere from my heart. If I say too much more like that, I'll bawl. I want to do...
What was it like in that function room for you that night when you got up and then you saw everyone and...
Well, that was an emotional time and very close to sort of falling over in a screaming heap, so to speak, but...
Really that emotional for you?
Yeah. I can't describe it to you. Sorry.
It's all right. I think your passion, it's something that perhaps people will be able to see another side of Don Talbot and be able to maybe relate to what it really means to you, and it obviously does.
Give me a couple of minutes.
Done. He spent nearly 5 decades in the sport, but now at 68, Don is stepping down as head coach.
I don't like the word retire because it's, you know, it's like a death sentence, but I guess that's what it is.
What will the Don Talbot legacy be to Australian swimming?
The legacy, I guess, is, to me, is that, you know, the gold might have seemed impossible at first to be #1, but we've got there. And I think if you persist enough and you believe enough and you keep trying enough, it will come. And if people can adopt that or accept that legacy, right, then I'll be very happy, as long as they don't lose sight of it.
From now on, Don will be swapping gold medals for the Gold Coast. But don't expect to see him running into the surf for a morning dip.
Go get it!
The man who's pushed swimmers and their coaches for 50 years has a secret. He hates the water. So we're not going to have a swim this afternoon?
No, you might, but I'll watch you. I'll be the coach.
I don't know that I'd want that. I can't swim very well.
I'll be gentle.
Good on you.